2 games in, you know, 2 different opponents, 2 different environments. What do you make of Bryce's start?
Yeah, I think he's off to a good start overall. You know, the first game we got him into a good rhythm, and I think that's what didn't happen the other night. When you talk about offense and rhythm and all those things, and I think there's a lot of ways that affect rhythm, whether it's sometimes it's penalties, sometimes it's either way it's negative plays. We didn't have a ton of penalties the other night, but we did have some missed opportunities because we just didn't get some things communicated, and that happens sometimes against a good opponent on the road. But I think, you know, I like where Bryce is. One of the things we talked about was taking care of the football. He's done that. He's been very, very good with his hand, you know, keeping 2 hands on it in the pocket, not throwing it into a lot of traffic. So that's good, but lots to build off of out of that game, and hopefully a lot to learn from.
Why do you think you weren't able to get into a rhythm like that?
Yeah, I think it's you know, first of all, yeah, give some credibility to Oklahoma. They had a good defense. They do a good job. They've improved their defense, and they were really good last year. So I think that starts with that. But I also think, you know, going into that game, we were like, hey, we need to win the time possession. We need to not turn the ball over. And to win the time possession, you have to be good on third downs, and we weren't. I think that's the story of the game. You know, when you're not, you know, our goal is to be 50% on third downs. We weren't that, and therefore we didn't get to stay on the field. Therefore, their offense plays more plays. I mean, everything kind of ties together. So, you know, for us, you know, we didn't play to our standard, that's for sure. The standard I expect us to play at here at Michigan, and the standard that I have set for our offense. So, you know, I think you got to look first of all internally and go back and say, okay, you know, we had a good week of practice. We thought we had a great plan, and then looking back, we just didn't get it done. And I think anytime you do that, you self-reflect, and our guys have really responded, you know, this week and worked real hard at improving in that area for sure.
Yeah, from the somewhat untrained eye, it felt like the game plan was maybe a little bit conservative on Saturday. Is that did you see it that way or break down?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was definitely you know, a philosophy of, hey, to win this game as a team. I think everything starts with how do we win the game. You know, that's what we're about here to, you know, and really I think to do that. Again, it goes back to possessing the ball, and really, if we execute on third downs a little better and stay on the field, I think things play out a little different for us, and we didn't get that done. But, you know, there was definitely a concerted effort to, you know, make sure that we tried to possess the ball and do a good job at that, and obviously we didn't do it good enough.
And then just a thought on the run game as well through 2 weeks. It's a lot, like a handful of big plays, but a lot that probably aren't what you'd hope for.
Yeah, I think first game, we had 4 explosive runs, and last week we had 1. And I think some of it's the opponent; they're better. I get that too, but we need more explosive runs. We need to create more opportunities for that. Hopefully, we'll continue to do that. You know, I was really pleased with the first game. We had, you know, we didn't have 2 and 3 yard runs. We had 6 to 8 yard runs, and then a couple explosives or a few. So definitely an area we got to improve on for sure.
All right, Sam.
What's your philosophy with quarterback running, and does that change with a guy like Bryce who wants to be more physical?
Yeah, no, I think quarterback runs are in our game plan every week. In fact, last week, I think three that I know of, we had to give the ball just based on what the defense was doing. Another was a designed keep run that we didn't block correctly. So we'll continue to have that opportunity. It's definitely something we want to, you know, showcase when possible and when it makes sense. And Bryce is very capable of doing a great job with that.
In the back right, Charles.
Yeah, Sharon mentioned kind of simplifying the offense going forward. What does that look like to you?
I think simplifying means doing what we've proven in practice probably that we're good at. You know, each year's different. So I think really focusing on getting back to the fundamentals and basics of what, you know, we're able to execute, because, you know, a lot of plays are good. They look good on paper, right? And then you get out there and you're trying to, you know, you don't want to ask your guys to do things maybe we're not real good at. And I think in some ways you don't know that until you've played a game or two and played some games. In practice, we go against our defense every day, and then you get a feel of what they do and how they get a feel of what we do, vice versa. But I think for us, it's getting back to the basics and fundamental. I think that's what you do anytime you don't play well. You go back to the basics and you say, hey, we're going to be good at these things. We know we can execute these things at a high level no matter what the defense does, and I think that's kind of been our focus.
On the left there, Ryan.
When you were devising your offense for this upcoming season, how much did you study or watch Bryce's high school film and what he did in high school to maybe implement some of that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely did. You know, little bit of a different style of offense they had there, but you could see the things that highlight his ability. I think anytime you're recruiting a guy, which I wasn't here during that process, you're saying, okay, he's really good at these things. He can scramble and make plays. I think, too, when you watch football, like the Sunday night game, right, those guys, I mean, those two quarterbacks are obviously probably the best in the world right now, Buffalo and the Ravens. And what you see is they make a lot of plays off schedule. Bryce is very capable of doing that, something that I think he did the other night a couple times. You saw that, I think, the one throw to McCulley and then one of the balls to the back. So, I think definitely – but I think we probably lean more on what we've seen him do here than there. But it's definitely a starting point for us, for sure.
And how would you evaluate the offensive line so far, and what do you think, what type of impact do you think losing Gio early in the game had on your game?
Yeah, well, Gio's a really good player. I want to say that first. He's a veteran, has played a lot, very steady guy. I think our guys that stepped in did a solid job filling in for him. That was encouraging seeing that happen. But we did have a couple things in there that need to clean up that you feel like Gio maybe gets right. But at the end of the day, it's next man up. We didn't have Marlon the other night either. It's the next man up mentality. That's kind of the way our program's wired. And, those guys will get back as soon as they can.
On the left, Austin.
Chip, when you do have a quarterback who can make those plays with his legs, how do you balance keeping him healthy, not wanting him to take too many hits versus utilizing that part of his game?
Yeah, great question. I think the hardest thing coming from high school is learning that. As the guys are bigger, they're faster. You got to learn to take care of yourself, understand when the play's over, go down or go out of bounds. Bryce is making a lot of strides in that area. You saw him scramble the other night and get down on the ground, which was really good. You saw him scramble the other night and make a good throw to Donovan. But I think it's just a matter of playing, getting him some reps, and like I said, again, getting in the rhythm of a game. Everything was moving a little faster the other night. I go back to watching, I think we had JJ's game on. You saw him early on, just the rhythm of their offense. It was struggling there at the beginning. Chicago was playing really good on defense. And then, boom, you saw in the fourth quarter they got hot, and I think that's kind of what we're hoping that we do as well. As the more he plays, the more he sees it, the more comfortable he gets, and then the guys around him as well. I think that's what the key is to playing good offense, making plays off schedule.
Stay on the left there, Chris.
Seemed like there were times that your guys weren't on the same page. Were there more missed assignments than you were?
Yeah, definitely more than we want, for sure. We don't want any, but I think a couple things. It was a loud environment, which I thought we prepped really good for that. I think Sharon does a great job of, as the head coach, your job's to create the best atmosphere to prepare your team for what you're going to see. He did that. We did that, but at the end of the day. I think it's a combination of maybe that as well as just being young in some areas that we need to make sure we tie up. It was a great test for us to go on the road in that atmosphere. We play a little better. We have a chance to win the game. We were right there driving in a one-score game and, didn't execute on a ball that we thought we had a great shot to throw down the sideline. But at the end of the day, good learning experience for us. We'll take what we can from it and move on. And, what I like is they've responded this week. It's been a great week so far, and we need to finish. Today's a big day for us as well. But I love the attitude of this team. These guys are warriors. They're competitors, and they like to practice. And I know they're motivated this week.
How much of that, the offensive line play, would you say was missed assignments versus just getting beat physically?
I think more sometimes just getting beat. I don't think there were a ton of missed assignments, but in every run scheme, there's a way to block it. And then, okay, they're giving this look. Here's our adjustment. Everybody's got to be on the same page with that. So it might have been a couple of those. And losing a guy like Gio, I think, a veteran guy who can help with some of that. Crip does a great job, but some of that's growing pains you go through, I think, when you got some young guys in young spots. But no excuse. We got to get it done. We got to make sure as coaches we get it done with them and put them in the best position possible.
Stay on the left, Clayton.
Couple of things with the third downs. I think you guys averaged 8.4 yards to go on third down. So how much was that?
Yeah.
Of that is first and second down, and then the second thing, a lot of throws like short of the sticks on third. Was that in the plan, or do you not trust the protection or not want to turn?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you got to be better in first and second down, so you'll be better. So you'll have shorter third downs. I think that's a great point, which means, like, to speak into our runs, we did have the explosive run, but some of our runs were 1 and 2 yard runs or a TFL. So we got to get in better manageable third downs. I do think there's some times when you're facing man coverage teams, there's some run and catch first down opportunities that we were hunting there, and then I think a couple times we got fooled on the coverage. But I think each week you're trying to build the best plan you can that catches everything you might see. Looking back, probably need to do I need to do a better job of giving him better opportunities for that.
On the right, Aaron?
The communication issues in the passing game, I'm thinking of a couple of passes from Cully, from Bryce. Are those this product of the environment? Is it Bryce just being young? How much?
Yeah, I think combination of being maybe being a young player, but really just I think the combination of hey, is this an RPO? Is this not an RPO? We got to make sure we all get to call on that. Sometimes that didn't happen, and it's part of the learning process. Not a lot of fun, I think. And then as a coach, you got to decide, okay, is it worth having those opportunities or not? And something we're taking a look at for sure this week.
In the back right, Angela.
Chip Sharon said on Monday, in terms of Bryce running more, that you better have two. And do you feel a little maybe handcuffed, maybe not having that insurance, behind him, and that's one reason?
No, not really. I think you can't coach hoping that doesn't happen. I think you got to coach the game and play. There are opportunities for him to run that haven't come up because I think teams expect him to run some. So if you're reading the defensive end and he stays in his spot, you're not going to pull it and take the risk. You're going to hand the ball off. That's happened several times, but I'm very confident in the guys we have. I think Jaden Davis has made a lot of progress. I think Jake Garcia and Mikey are all capable. Mikey's still working through trying to get healthy, but no, I don't think that's a factor at all.
Let's see where we're going here. Andrew?
Yeah, you were talking about time of possession
Yeah.
earlier. The Central Michigan coach has said he kind of wants to shrink this game
Sure,
as much
yeah.
as possible. So I guess what's your thought then offensively? I know you can't score too quickly. That's not a problem. But,
Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll score as quickly as we can, as much as we can. But no, I think we have to just get ourselves playing in rhythm and really give ourselves more opportunities. I think probably that's what I took out of the game was we got to get ourselves more opportunity. In the first game we weren't clean sometimes, but we were pretty much in rhythm a lot. Ball was coming out fast. We had a lot of different things going. So I think for us, just get back to playing good, sound football, do what we do best, focus on that, and let the guys really play free and confident. I think that's the key, and that's something that I'm working real hard on this week.
Got time for about 3 or 4 more. We'll start with Ryan.
Oh, you didn't look at me. What did you know Biff before coming to Michigan, and what have your interactions been like with him so far this year?
I didn't know him well, but I knew him. We played those guys when I was at Carolina. We played Biff and met him then, but didn't really know him personally, and it's been a joy to get to know him. The guy, his unique personality, and loves this place. I know that, and loves Sharon, and so when I got here and then he came soon after, it was good to connect with him and become very close. I think he'll do a great job for us, and I think also the thing that's important is he's got a big picture mentality. He's been a head coach. He can see that. He's got a great vibe with the players. I think that's important, and he's got experience. So I think we're in good hands for the next couple of weeks.
In the back, Alejandro.
Chip, how much authority do you give Bryce to make changes at the line of scrimmage, and how do you determine when you can put that on his plate versus a check with me?
Yeah, no, he's got authority. I mean, we got some kill plays where they kill to certain things, and then we have some just, hey, get out of the play versus certain looks. And, that is a little bit of a learning process for him from the standpoint of, what do we want to get versus certain looks. That's something any young quarterback would learn, but he's got a lot of authority at the line of scrimmage, a lot of options. He did a great job, changed the protection, I think, twice the other night and got us in the right protection, which was awesome. First week he did it 3 times, I think. So he's doing a nice job with that stuff. We just, we got to keep growing in that area. It's something I think we got to improve on. And, you can talk to him now, which is good, right, in the headset, but at 15 seconds it cuts off. So, if you're in the huddle and you come out, then, you're under the gun. He can't hear you anymore. So I think he's really done a nice job of that stuff so far. And, it's that fine line too about asking him to do too much or not enough. And I think we're still in that process of figuring out, okay, what's smart. If it's not worth it, let's don't even do the play, right? Let's run something that we know is a catch-all. But really like the way progress he's making in that area.
Last question over here on the right, Zach.
How, if at all, in your eyes, do you think the preparation and the emotions will be different not having Sharon on the sideline for the next 2 weeks?
I don't know. I think we'll approach it. I think our players are really motivated to really really focus on what we're trying to do. They obviously they love Sharon, and I don't know if that's going to be a factor in our preparation, but I know those guys. Yesterday's an indicator. I like the direction we're headed. Those guys were excited to be out there and practice, and you'd probably have to ask them what their motivation is. But definitely the focus and the attitude, the energy, and the body language was there for sure.